All right, let's talk about something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. Imagine using AI to write a full-blown, passage-by-passage commentary on the entire New Testament. I mean, not just a couple of verses here and there, but the whole shebang. Well, it's not sci-fi. It's a real, absolutely massive project that's already done. So you've got to ask, right? How in the world is something like this even possible? And maybe even more importantly, why would you do it? Well, those are the exact questions we're going to break down right here, looking at what this project set out to do and how they pulled it off. To really get the why behind this whole thing, we first have to wrap our heads around the problem the creators were trying to solve. Turns out, you can't just boot up a generic AI, ask it to interpret ancient scripture, and expect to get anything useful back. And here's the absolute heart of the issue. If you go ask a standard AI about a Bible passage, the answer you get can be completely all over the map. One minute it sounds like one thing, the next minute it sounds like something totally different. The theology is inconsistent, the tone is random, and it's often just full of vague, kind of devotional fluff, instead of real, rigorous analysis. For serious study, that's a total non-starter. This chart really lays it all out. On the one side, you've got the total chaos of a generic AI. It's theologically inconsistent, totally unstructured, and whatever it gives you is just stuck in a chat window. But on the other side, that's the goal of this project: a very specific theological framework, a rigid, repeatable structure, and a disciplined analysis that's actually ready to be published. It's all about moving from a random answer generator to a reliable, systematic tool. So what do? Well, the solution wasn't just to tweak an existing model. They had to build a completely new engine, basically from the ground up. The goal was to create an AI that didn't just talk about the Bible, but was specifically designed to analyze it just like a particular kind of scholar would. And they're super upfront about this. The project's own description says the AI is designed to think and write like a conservative evangelical New Testament exegete. Now, an exegete is just someone who does exegesis. That's the deep, critical interpretation of a text. So this makes it crystal clear this isn't some neutral, all perspectives tool. It's highly specialized and built for a very specific purpose. So how do they pull that off? It's all built on a classic scholarly approach called the grammatical historical method. The core idea is actually pretty straightforward. If you want to understand a text, you have to understand the original language, the grammar, and the historical situation it was written in. The whole point is to get as close as possible to what the original author meant for their original audience. And these aren't just vague guidelines. You can think of them as theological guardrails that are literally programmed into the system. The creators hard-coded a very clear doctrinal position. For instance, it's not just broadly conservative evangelical. It's specifically non-Calvinist, leaning toward free choice. And it's explicitly designed to reject theological ideas that are considered liberal or progressive. So again, this is a tool with a very clear, self-declared point of view. Okay, so we've covered the why and the how. But what does the AI actually spit out at the end of the day? Let's take a look at the anatomy of its analysis to see what a finished commentary entry looks like. Now, first off, here's a really crucial choice they made. The AI doesn't just go verse by verse. We all know that can lead to taking things way out of context. Instead, it analyzes what they call literary units. These are complete thoughts or arguments that might cover a few verses or sometimes a whole chapter. This is all about being more faithful to how the original texts were actually written and read. And the scale here is, well, it's staggering. The entire New Testament was divided into 458 of these unique literary units, and every single one of them got its own deep, structured analysis. This wasn't just some weekend project. We're talking about a systematic, comprehensive effort to cover everything. And for every single one of those 458 units, this is what the AI produces. It's the exact same structure every time, which is key. It's not some free-form essay. It starts with a summary, then an outline of the structure, it analyzes key Greek terms, and then it moves into the theological, philosophical, and practical applications. That structure is what ensures the consistency and depth across the entire work. So a tool this specific, this structured, who is actually supposed to use it? Well, the project has a pretty clear audience in mind. It's really built for anyone who wants to go deeper than just a surface-level reading of the text. So we're talking about serious Bible students, teachers leading a class, preachers prepping a sermon, theology students, basically anyone who's looking for a deep, structured commentary that works from that very specific, conservative framework we've been talking about.
So when you boil it all down, here's the big idea. This whole project is trying to bridge a gap. On one hand, you've got traditional, rigorous scholarship that can take a person decades to produce. On the other hand, you have AI, which is incredibly fast but is often shallow and all over the place. This commentary is an attempt to fuse the rigor of the first with the unbelievable scale and speed of the second.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating and maybe even a little unsettling question. As AI gets better and better at simulating highly specialized human expertise, what does that mean for how we learn? When you can generate a detailed scholarly analysis in just a few seconds, what's the role of the human student? It's a huge question, and it's projects like this one that are forcing us to start thinking about an answer.